Hey, everybody. Mark and Eric and Kelly and Nicola. Greetings. Day 90 of this year. I don't know what we would even call this in terms of the days of the virus. But if you are watching on Facebook, can I do this? Where did it go? There it is. Sorry. Come on. Hey, Carrie. How's it going out there on the West Coast? I invite everyone. I encourage everyone. I beg everyone to join me over on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel because since gathering in groups of humans, speaking to groups of humans that I normally do is not happening right now. Trying to build up my YouTube channel. Hey, Dawn. Yeah, you can't stop long. I'm gonna try to keep this one a little shorter myself. I was really not sure I even wanted to go live. But hey, Eric, you have comedian hours? Yeah. So, where are you, Eric? Are you in the Bay Area? The thing is, like, I'll never be able to monetize Facebook at all, but maybe I'll be able to build up my YouTube channel. So if you're watching, it's Science Comedian, youtube.com/Science Comedian over on YouTube, and it helps me. And if you give the video a like, or at least not a dislike, you'll be doing me a great favor. So, hey, Denise, what are you doing over here? Get, you know that you're supposed to be over on the YouTube channel. Hey, Matthew. I'm streaming simultaneously to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter/Periscope. But, it's better for me if you watch on my YouTube channel. So, please do. You didn't do that. I know. Yeah, for those, I showed great restraint because a couple people that hadn't tuned in weren't watching yet. So, usually it's impossible for me to, if I say anything, youtube.com/Science Comedian, because if I say anything that rhymes with flash, I'm constitutionally unable to prevent myself from singing that one part of the Brian May composition, the Queen song from the soundtrack of the Flash Gordon movie. All right, there. Satisfied, Denise? Oh, and Mark, are you really out there, dude? Thanks. It's always funny to me when my neighbors a couple doors down are tuning in via satellite, but they're right next door. However, right next, they may as well be 1,000,000 miles away because that's about as close as you're allowed to get, mister, right now. Denise says, I was cruising Facebook, be over YouTube momentarily. See, that's the thing. I know people are on the various platforms. If you're out there on Periscope, come on over. But maybe you're just hanging out on Periscope. You're not really committed to the idea of this. You don't even know what this is. There's no indication that this is worth sticking around for. Oh, man, I meant to put those. Oh, yeah. And I'm not even going to try to convince you that it's a good idea. Mark Kaplan. Yeah. Whew. Wow. You one time don't do the Flash Gordon sound and everyone's on my case. But Mark, thank you for being over there on YouTube. I finished a new video today. It's already, I should have worked on the next one, but it's an easier one anyway. But a new video in partnership with Sigma Xi, the Scientific Research Honor Society. And it's with the same food safety expert that I had in my last video, Ben Chapman, from NC State. I'm directionally challenged, so I don't know, let's take that off for now, but we talked in this one, it was a little bit more about the low risk of virus transmission via food and food packaging, and also about, I asked him what worked in the past, like what did work against the flu, what practices, and it turns out social distancing, we don't go into it in great depth, it's a short video, but just interesting because to a lot of us it feels like quarantine and social distancing. We've never experienced anything like that in our lives before. It seems new and it seems extreme, but it's not. It's really, a couple hundred years ago even, before the flu in 1918-19. There were echoes? Hey, NetReamer. Wait, James Thomas says echoes. You're not saying, are you getting an echo? NetReamer, am I echoing here? It's almost 7 p.m. in California. Messages have been spreading asking us to all go outside to make noise at 7 to thank those on the front lines. Oh. Well, David, you surely are watching me on a mobile device, right? And wherever David does go, his mobile device does follow because it's in his hand at all times. Aren't you even relatable to me? Otherwise, I don't even know what's going on. Take me with you, David. God, if we were doing this on Instagram, I could invite you into the stream and you could show us what's happening there. Mark says tonight was supposed to be at RATM. I don't follow your acronym. But Dawn says, hey, Brian, Carolyn Porco really liked one of my astro photos over on Twitter. I'm a bit over the moon about that. Very cool. That's really sweet. Carolyn Porco is a big, I guess, an astrophysicist, and she's been in, I think she was like, wasn't she the head of, or one of the main people on the Cassini mission to Saturn? As well as having a long career before that. Oh, Rage Against the Machine. Tonight was supposed to be at Rage Against the Machine. NetReamer, you're in your backyard with a cigar and a band of... You smoke cigars, NetReamer? I don't think I've ever seen you with a cigar. I'm not echoing. I'm in sync. I'm in sync. Am I in sync? I don't know why I didn't realize that was the only way to test the sync all the time. I was doing it wrong. I never heard from you, Mark, if you're out there at all. Link, Eric Knisley. Oh, youtube.com/ Science Comedian. Science Comedian. YouTube.com Science Comedian / I can't help myself. You know me. Thank you, Eric. Eric Knisley. Very talented cartoonist. And, you know, he can do art with his bare hands and also with computers. He puts his hands on the computer. And he's been reported for it many times. So it's really, you're the wrong audience for this, but just because I wanted to change it up, I did load up a couple new clips, which are the one, if you're watching me, you definitely saw it the other day. The video with Ben Chapman about the relative low risk of takeout and delivery. But here's the thing right there. Something that was intended to go down my food hole just went down my air hole like a virus particle. Eric Knisley, yeah, have you made it over? I'm looking for you. Is that what you meant by link? Or was there something else? Or did you mean the link to my friend Dawn's photo? Dawn says, where I live in the UK, the police are spot checking people, asking them where they're going and why. Yeah, it's got a weird feel to it. But you know what? I am not enjoying a lot of things right now. But, oh shit, hold on. Just give me 1 second. there's a light I meant to turn off, and I don't know why it's still on. And but how that might have changed something, the white balance, for all I know. Anyway, here's one thing I'm not liking right now. I don't like this reaction that some people are rejecting the idea of staying home and social distancing and quarantine. Like stay at home, whether it's short of a law, being asked to stay at home. Some of them are not liking it, and they're invoking it's like America and freedom. Like they think it's infringing on their freedom. And I haven't figured out how to respond to that yet. But I think I need to, because at no time have I felt like this was impinging on my freedom, like the philosophical ideal of my freedom. It is impinging upon my freedom to just do whatever I want. But no, it's not. It never affected my sense of my freedom being infringed, because it's like, oh, there's a virus out there and I don't want to get it and I don't want to share it. So it's not about freedom, it's about keeping myself alive and giving a shit about other people too. And yeah, that's it. You know what? It's like that's the funny thing. It just crystallized a little better. I'm not saying it just crystallized a little better by telling you, but does anyone else feel that? Like, just hearing that from too many people, and I'm not liking it. This, oh look, there's a red tint to the moon. The moon is blood red. Do you see it? Does it appear reddish to you? It's because there's a red light on it. Does anyone else, like, Net Reamer says, I smoke cigars on vacations. Sometimes I take a mini vacation in my backyard. And this is a weird kind of, the weird thing is, here's another question for you. For some people, they're able to work from home and they're still working long hours. Some people, they really don't have as much to do. And my thing's been really weird. In a way, this isn't that different from my normal lifestyle, with to some extent anyway. But I've been working harder because I've been making videos and I've been streaming, and I feel like I've been keeping busy and busier than usual even. So I'm on that weird side of it. I wonder how you are on that. Like, but do you feel that, like, if they were to say quarantine and we're checking and we don't want you to leave your house, would you feel like it's like your freedom was being taken away and this is America and that's bullshit? Because I just don't feel that at all. And that's not even to say that I don't think some people in this administration would love to instigate some sort of practices, police state type practices, but I just don't think that that's what this is. Like, this is something entirely different. This is stay inside because you don't want to get sick and you don't want to get anyone else sick. We're trying to stop the spread of this. And if you just give a shit about yourself or anybody else, it just seems like a good idea. Okay, so let me see what some of you have to say about that. Dawn said, where I live in the UK, the police are, oh yeah, spot checking people. You already read that. And the freedom to go out and potentially infect people or catch something. Nah, stay home, folks. Yeah. Denise, I posted on Facebook today, you are not stuck at home, you're safe at home. Yeah, you're not. You know what? That's what I thought too. It's like quarantine. Quarantine is a scary word. You're being quarantined. You're being ordered to stay home. No. We're just hunkering down. That's what we do here in the South. We just hunker down for a while. You know, get yourself a cold drink, kick your feet up. You're just hunkering down. Shit's going on out there. Close the door. We don't care what's going on outside our screen door. Oh, screen door. Way too dangerous. Shut the real door. Shut the door. We're going to just hunker down. It's not a quarantine. Quarantine is so scientific and sterile. Hopefully hopefully, I guess it's a quarantine because we don't think you're sterile. But hunker down. It needs a rebranding. That's why I've got so far, there was precautions, not panic. Oh. I hear a lot of noise being made right now. I don't think at first I thought it was sirens. But maybe it's people making noise at 10:09 here. But there was precautions, not panic, hashtag. And then we really need to push this one. Eat less, poop less. It's science, it's logic. And then hunkering down. We just got to rebrand this. It's not a quarantine. We're just hunkering down. But yeah, Denise, I like that. You're not stuck at home. You're safe at home. Yeah, it's just a matter of perspective. Bill, what have you missed? You heard that stuff, right? I wonder. I want to hear your take on it. A magician in Chicago, a skeptic. Do you feel, if you stay inside, freedom? This is bullshit. We're in America. You're impinging on my freedom. Is that how you feel about this? Because too many people do. And then we got more virus talk. NetReamer says, give me liberty or give me death. How about a bit of both for you, sir? Yeah. The governor here, Mark Kaplan, is in Texas. The governor here issued a stay-at-home decree, but did not say mandatory. So you've seen these church gatherings. There was one, I may have these numbers off, but I think this, and the place is, I think it's in Florida, that they had a gathering, and it was about 80 people, and 43 of them are sick. Maybe more by now, but yesterday when I read it, it was 43. 10 of those were tested, and all 10 were positive for the coronavirus. I'm smiling a little bit because it was flagrant, because I don't know why people won't listen to the scientists. We're in a terrible situation here where you're gonna listen to preachers and politicians instead of the scientists and the, infectious disease experts. I cannot wrap my mind around that even. Listen to the scientists. And there's still conspiracy stuff. I saw on Twitter just an hour ago a bunch of, here's the new take. It's that they're driving around the outside of some hospitals that look really quiet, and they just think that that's all bullshit. There's nothing, no hospitals are overrun, because we went by a hospital in our neighborhood where there haven't been very many cases yet because it hasn't spread equally across the whole country. And their hospital looks quiet. Or I also heard some of that debunked by people saying that they're carefully cherry picking what they show you. But anyway, you're still hearing people say it's a Democratic conspiracy and it's against Trump, and you're still hearing people saying that the flu kills more and more people died from the swine flu 10 or 11 years ago. And we'll come back to that right after this. So that's some of what you missed, Bill. Dawn says, my hubby is my hunker buddy. Well, there, you're lucky. I got no hunker. I don't even have a pet right now. I don't even have a fish or a turtle, let alone a mammal. There are no other mammals living in this house. And I did do a little book exchange with some mammals that live next door, but they were done at a distance, and the books are apparently being disinfected before they're read. All right, so that's the new book club. Kimberly, woo, you made it, woo. Thanks for making it, Kimberly. I don't know what you're LOLing about, but, oh yeah, Mark, formerly in Texas, Arizona, your governor said, a stay-at-home decree, but not mandatory. Yeah, Arizona. Sorry, Mark. Not Texas, Arizona. I gotcha. I understood the first time. NetReamer, a choir of 60 gathered. 45 sick and 2 dead. See, I don't find that very funny. But here's what I'm looking forward to hearing the update on this one. In Louisiana, right? A huge mega church. They met last Sunday and they met Sunday yesterday. they were being asked not to, and some 500 to 1,000, they were expecting a big outdoor gathering, and there were some photos afterwards. Of course, they're not distancing from each other, and they're a huge group, and it's because you can't tell us to close. You're telling me Walmart's open and the church has to close? What do you do with that? What do we do with that? I mean, maybe really soon we're not going to have to say anything because the folly of their ways will be horribly evident. Maybe. But you'd like to stop that before it happens. And also they're not, even if you think that they deserve what they get, it's out of ignorance, and like they're not, and I don't mean that in an insulting way, but they're lacking some knowledge, and they're being swayed by someone they trust, who's assuring them that everything's okay. So they have someone they trust who's misleading them. But it doesn't matter anyway. My other point is that they're not the only ones that are going to suffer. If they all get sick, they're spreading it to other people that didn't choose to go to church. So yeah. No, I have a brain, Bill says. The virtue of understanding a little science. I just get itchy not being able to perform. Yeah, maybe, yeah, you could do this. I don't have to perform anymore because I just do this. And I call it a performance. Kimberly says some priest or pastor was calling it a hoax and he just died. Really? I mean, apparently it's gonna take a few instances like that. One isn't even gonna do it. But, yeah, it's just crazy. Hey, Eric and Lauren and Michael Krieger and Pete, if I haven't said it in a while, please, come over to YouTube. It helps me out if you'll watch this on my YouTube channel, which is Science Comedian. YouTube.com/Science Comedian. It's like something comes over me and, I can't, that wasn't even me there for a second. I black out. All I said was youtube.com/Science Comedian. If you heard something else, that was probably in your mind. Pete and Eric and Lauren and Michael sitting in a tree. QUARANTINING. But failing at it because that's too many people for one tree. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Darla the Darling. Be safe too, Dawn. I like when the people in the comments, that's you people. You are the people in the comments. Hey, will you give a like? Last time, not even half of you gave the video a like. Give it a like before you, can you do it now? Oh, maybe you can't. Can you not do it now? Well, don't forget to give it a like. Give the video a like, and and if you choose to go do something else, put it on mute and let it play a while, and you'll be no. It helps me the most if you're here and you interact with me. You know that, right? So more interaction. But I have a rant. I want to make a video about the people that are comparing other damage from other viruses and things to the current state of affairs now. So let's do a run through in a second, but first I'll check some of your comments. So, what does the outside of a hospital show anyone? That's the other thing. They're asking people not to hang around. Like, there shouldn't be any extra people there, and you shouldn't even be there with your loved ones. So I wonder if what's going on. But some of those hospitals, for someone who missed the beginning of this, I was saying there's I saw this on Twitter an hour or two ago. There was some conspiracy, and someone with a big following. Do you know who this person is? I'll tell you who started. I did some screen caps. Deanna Lorraine, Deanna for Congress. I don't know who she is, and that's just a screen cap, so I can't click through to her account, but I think she has a lot of followers, and she said, just went to 2 hospitals in LA to check out these war zones that MSM, mainstream media, keeps telling us about. They are very quiet and empty in all caps. We are not being told the truth. Why? Let's get hashtag film your hospital trending. We are the news now. We are the news now. She all capped the wrong word, I think. We can't trust the news. Post pics of your hospital here. And a bunch of other people joined in. And so, yeah, they're showing the calm outside of a hospital, and who knows what's going on. But some of these hospitals are in places that the virus hasn't hit very big yet. I don't think much is happening at the hospital here in Raleigh because our state and our county don't have very many cases yet. The state, it's growing, but here, so you could go to our hospital and I'm sure it's very quiet outside. But that doesn't mean anything about the hospitals in New York and New Jersey and Louisiana. So, yeah. Okay, so that's really frustrating. And why aren't people believing the science and the scientists? But I think they're going to have to after this. Kimberly, UPUT, I don't know what that means. You need a mammal, that's true. Mammals are great. I love mammals. I didn't say some mammals. Not all mammals. I even like some primates. Not all primates, but there's some noise making or something going out somewhere out there. But I love dogs and cats in particular. William, do a live with Brian, says Kimberly. Okay, Dawn is going to bed. It's after 3 a.m. See you folks. Take care. Stay home. Be safe. Be kind. Thank you, Dawn. NetReamer, I did share the numbers to see. Funny. Okay, so be safe too, Dawn. A mega church in Naperville, Illinois, says Bill. The pastor died of COVID. They keep secret the staff was sick and still meeting. You know, falling on the God will just protect us. That's... I have nothing to say about that. Oops, sorry to be funny. Yeah, NetReamer, the numbers did seem funny to you. The branch may break. Mark said yes to something. Kimberly, I replied to 612 comments on a site that wasn't clear with their headline and scared people. They said other coronaviruses live on surfaces in low temperatures for a month. Everyone missed the word other. You know what else I saw? I saw this meme. A guy, I get these private messages sometimes on Twitter from people that I'm not connected to, and they go into this special category, and I check some of them, then delete them. And it was a tweet that said, this is bullshit because look, here's some medicine for a coronavirus. It was some sort of veterinary medicine, and it says for something coronavirus. And it's like, see, it's vaccine, and it's like they're lying to us. They already have a vaccine for the coronavirus. And I just said, this guy had no followers, or 2 or something, and no one had seen this, but it just pissed me off enough that I wrote that coronaviruses are an entire class of viruses. There are hundreds of coronaviruses, and most of them have nothing to do with us at all. And some of them there are vaccines for. This is obviously longer than 140 characters, but this is what I expressed, but in a shorter tweet, that there are vaccines for some of them. And this is a brand new one, and there isn't. Stop spreading bullshit. So it's that kind of thing where someone like, there's already a vaccine for coronavirus. Wrong one. But Kimberly, there you go. Good. That's a lot of commenting. Denise, you can like the stream now. There's 3 things to support you. Subscribe. Yes, you can subscribe. You can like the video, and you can hit the bell. So that other thing is, even after you subscribe, do a YouTube channel. I've been hearing a lot of YouTube bloggers say this, like, click the little bell, because just following doesn't mean you'll get the notifications. I was really frustrated on Instagram. I did a live stream on Instagram, and right before I went on, it said, 56 of your friends are online. If you go live, when you go live, we'll notify some of them. Well, don't do me any favors. What's the whole point of following when they do that? And it's, they're owned by Facebook and they want to monetize. They want to charge you for the privilege of reaching more of your followers. But it used to be at first, I think, when you had followers, they saw all your posts. And then they're like, ooh, now your followers don't even get to see all your stuff. See, that's unfortunate. Are you guys eating anything? Are you staying healthy? I haven't eaten enough today, and so I go right for the unhealthy. I don't know about you, but I mean, it's not that unhealthy. They are potatoes, right? Better get a little napkin. I'm gonna make a mess. You're not supposed to eat in the studio. Oh, and especially not something loud. Darla the Darling says, Jerry Falwell Jr. kept his university open and folks got sick. Movie reference quiz time. Is that a movie reference or did I make a movie reference? Yeah, did people get sick? I knew that he was keeping it open and inviting students back to the campus. I read an article that in more depth, like some of the people would probably just be in their dorm rooms and isolating. Some people on campus were isolating, but encouraging them to come back and to travel from wherever they were when they really should be staying in place. Probably not a good idea. Net Reamer says, I'll check my message before sending this time. I didn't share the numbers to be funny. The choir situation is tragic, but the article was warning of airborne transmission. I know. And this other one, this current one, the one that met again 2 Sundays in a row, including yesterday, against an outcry where some people were saying, why doesn't the governor arrest him and prevent it from happening? And, some churches are doing services virtually, so it doesn't have to stop you from being religious or praying. That's not the behavior it's the gathering together under that one roof or in a huge group outside, close proximity. In 1918 or 19, I need to get the details of the story, but when the flu, I guess it was early enough on, but there was a parade in Philadelphia, and they were advised at this point that they should cancel the parade, don't do it. And they decided to go ahead with the parade, and like a week later, their hospitals were overwhelmed. And at the same time, St. Louis did a serious lockdown, and their hospital system wasn't overrun. So we already have 100-year-old stories like that about something similar. And now we have all these ways of staying in touch, too. It's like, boy, you would have been really isolated 100 years ago, right? Without all the media that we have, you'd be so... Do you hear that? That's actually a train. That sounds so loud. It's weird how most of the time you don't hear it. It's a couple miles away, train station. And, maybe most of the time you sort of edit it out and you don't even consciously hear it. And then sometimes it's super loud. Late at night, it's loud. Mark Kaplan, with those students to go to give me liberty and give me death. How many is some? It should be shut down. Hey, your choice of backlighting looks terrific tonight and the moon looks magical. So I should have given you a virus update and said that I was having a little headache. Actually, it's kind of subsided. I think I hadn't had enough water or anything to eat. Thank God for potato chips. I got a new light, and it just arrived today. And how's that? I turned it on, and it's not just a red light. It's tunable. It was a blue light a little while ago. I'll have to look later and see how different it looks. The lights that are on me wash it out a little. I wish I could have little more directional lights on me. If I just had little directional lights on me, they wouldn't wash out the background. Yeah, I just put my fingers in my mouth. But They're very clean, except for the potato chip dust that I needed. We can't hear the train over the background music. That's it. Oh, ASMR munching. Thank you. Let's take a look over at Facebook. We haven't seen any comments, I don't think, from Periscope, and really nothing from Facebook. Although it says some people are watching over on Facebook. I'm going to turn this down, but it would be awesome if you would join me at youtube.com/Science Comedian. Not much commenting, but 6 people, Facebook people. Come over to my YouTube channel. It actually helps me out. All right, Clee89. I came here from Facebook. That sounds like the title of your memoir. Do I know you, Clee89? Jennifer H? Is that you, Jennifer? I moved over here from Facebook as instructed. Well, excellent. Sync is good. Your level's a little low. Oh, okay. Well, look, I can actually fix that right here. Do you really think my level's low? I can bring it up a little. Then I'm starting to peak the yellow there, though. So how's the sync? Still in sync. I have no dropped frames. We're 40 minutes and 41 seconds into this, whatever it is. Okay, Jennifer. Jenny Rennie and John Hahn. That's still one of the funniest things to me. Denise, use chopsticks for the snacks. Use chopsticks for potato chips. May as well use them for soup. Well, thanks for coming over, Jennifer. Mark, thank you. Good night. Good to see you again. Sync is good. Your level's a little low. I could turn the music down a little. Clee, we once maybe 10 years ago. Give me a little more you were an NCSU student? Cool. And here we are 10 years later. Look at us now. Can you believe it? The level sounds good. Hey, Francis. Oh, Francis Marie Lane. Come on over. Come on, read the small print. Come over to youtube.com/Science Comedian. youtube.com. I'm Science Comedian. It helps me because I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel and I need a certain number of watched hours. And that's what you represent to me. I'm like one of those, I look out at you and I see dollar signs reflected back from the camera lens. No, I don't. Chopsticks for potato chips is a pro move. I do have chopsticks in the house, but I'm not gonna run and go get them right now. The sync is spot on. Yeah, it is funny, Jennifer. So I hope, oh my God, Jennifer. Hey, let me ask you something. A little while ago, I was talking about some conspiracy nut, on Twitter, talking about how the hospitals, if you drive by some hospitals, they look quiet on the outside and therefore it's all a mainstream media conspiracy. They're lying to us. And most of them are in places that haven't even been hit yet, really, by the virus. How are things in New York? Oh, are you even in New York, or are you hunkering down out of town? Because how about a little New York report? Or did you go off to your cabin in the woods? If you saw that movie, that's a little risky too. All right, more potato chips. Michael Garr. Michael, come on over to YouTube and say hi to me on YouTube. Come on, man. You know I have to build up my YouTube channel with product placement. From the makers of string cheese. This show is sponsored by String Cheese. No particular brand, the entire industry. String Cheese, cheese of the future. And we're back. We're back in a Ruffles commercial. Okay. Jennifer, I asked for a report from New York. She says, we're hunkered in the Pennsylvania Lake House, but from our friends back home, Streets are quiet because people are observing the lockdown, but there are morgue trucks outside some hospitals. There's some overflow tent hospitals being set up, or are set up. Yeah. And you know what? I could share it to Facebook later or something, but there's a video I watched yesterday of a doctor. She was, I think it was in New York, and it's a the New York Times put out this video. Female doctor amidst what looks like some chaos. They're overworked and strained already, this early in, because it is early. And she's saying that, like, she's hearing things in the media. The implications seem to be things that Trump was saying. Someone was saying that we don't need these ventilators and that it's not as bad as they're saying, and they're all taken care, like acting like the situation is fine and all the needs are being covered. And she was there to say it's not true at all. Not in the places that are already being hit the hardest, but it's not hitting equally everywhere. What's hard to understand about that? Okay, continuing, report from New York. Morgue trucks outside some hospitals, overflow tent hospitals. Javits Center, the huge convention center, the Javits Center is starting to get set up, and USS Comfort will be ready by tomorrow to receive patients. So the USS Comfort is like a battleship, an aircraft carrier or something that's moored right there. I've been to the Javits Center. They say the sirens are nonstop in the city. Nonstop. It's bad. No one's acting. It's bad. Yeah, I know. So here's the other thing I wanted. Hey, Naomi Most. I implore you to come over to watch on YouTube because I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel. You'll be helping me out. And there's more people chatting over there. There's some good chat going on. So, okay, you know what? It's a military hospital ship, the USS Comfort. Oh, okay. Hey, hi. Oh, I thought it said hail, and then I shortened it to hey, but it was hi. Hi, Naomi. Good to see you. A friend of mine was given an update from New York because some conspiracy theorists were taking pictures of the outsides of hospitals in places that haven't yet been hit really by the virus and saying it's bullshit, they're lying to you, here's the outside of a hospital. Here's a snowflake, therefore global warming isn't happening. Here's a quiet hospital, therefore this is all a lie. Oops, there are pieces of potato chip coming out of my mouth during important sentences. All right, here's the other one. But that's not all we're doing. We bullshit a lot here and interact, and we could be talking about anything, but this is frustrating, and here's what, I would like to make a video that rants a little about people. So the one I just saw was someone saying the H1N1 virus, the swine flu, like 10 or 11 years ago. Here, let me get the quote. Let me do him justice before. All right, there it is. Blah, blah, blah. The challenge is that if you compare this to the swine flu in 2009, 61 million Americans got infected and we lost 10,000 plus people, Americans. We're a long ways away from that, and we'll be in a recession/depression if we keep this up past June. Our country was built around people working. That's a weird sentence to me. Is that really what our country was built around? Or is that just something you heard Trump say a couple days ago? Because I heard him say something very much like that. But our country was built around people working. There's a lot of things this country was built on, and I don't know if that's the main one. But it's just a weird thing to say. But here you go. In 2009, the swine flu infected 61 million Americans, and we lost 10,000 plus people. We're a long ways from that. You know, you're taking the final step. That's right, 10 years ago, By the time that thing was over, however long that ran, and I don't know how long, by the time it was over, the final stats were 10,000 dead, 61 million Americans infected. And now that's the final score of the game, right? And you are looking at this today, and you want to compare these numbers to that? We're in the first inning, you dumbass. Like, this is so frustrating to me. It's like, how is there any logic to that? It's like, this is nothing, that was so much more. Yeah, do you remember how long ago, anyone want to tell me what day it was? What was the date when Trump said, we have 15 cases? We have 15 cases. That's because we acted early and we shut it down. And you would say the exact same thing a week or two ago when he said that. Flash forward, yesterday there were 130,000 cases, more cases than any other country. And if you say that about that number, you're gonna be just as wrong in a week. And I don't understand what's so hard to wrap your mind around that. It's so unfair. Let's say somebody like, I don't know the right sports reference, but someone like Michael Jordan, their first year or two, you go, wow, incredible stats. That guy's good. And then somebody goes, yeah, but Will Chamberlain retired with this much more than that. Or let's just say like hits or something. Like let's say somebody in their earliest years had some really, like maybe Hank Aaron or something, and you'd go, Hank Aaron, for instance, okay, I don't know these numbers. Let's say early in Hank Aaron's career, you'd go, man, this guy hits a lot of home runs. And if you compare, wow, if he kept this up for his lifetime, it would be really bad. And someone would go, Babe Ruth hit 714. That's nowhere near that. Well, guess what? In the end, Hank Aaron hit more. Maybe that's the one. If my friend John O'Connell was watching, I was asking him, I don't know any sports ball references. And that's why I was asking him, like, I think Michael Jordan is a very recognizable name, but I wanted to make some analogies, but I don't have he has the stats and the knowledge of sports to help me with an analogy, and I don't have that. But you know what I mean? Like, it's so stupid to, you might as well use, so which date did Trump say that we only had 15 cases? I'm gonna need that information at some point. But, it's just as absurd. You said that same argument on that day, and now look how much it's changed, and it's changing every day. What is it that people need to, is it an inability to accept? I've been thinking about this a lot lately, that I think for most of us, it's pretty hard to really imagine that the worst case scenario. There are infectious disease experts that have expected and feared something like this for years and years. They've always known there was a potential for this, and they could see, and there's some other kinds of people, and then there's some people that just have a tendency to think worst case scenarios. But I think for most of us, we live with a healthy amount of denial, and for the most part, the most horrible things in life don't happen to you, but they do happen sometimes. But for the most part through your whole life, the worst possible things, especially if you're an American in this day and age, in this day and this age, that day, the other day, not this day, the other day, sometimes that's gonna happen. The worst thing in the world doesn't usually happen, and if you think that a friend of mine was saying that they had an ex that would always say, it's gonna be okay. And most of the time it is, but every once in a while, no, it's not gonna be okay. And, friends die, loved ones die. Okay, well, that time it wasn't okay. So I think for the most part, it's hard for us to really imagine that 100,000 Americans could die, or 1 million Americans could die. Like that's so unthinkable, like truly apocalyptic, horrible endings to things, like a nuclear war, like that we would actually exchange, and there would be, like where all of New York is a smooth glass nuclear wasteland. Like, we have trouble imagining that would really happen, and we go on with our lives, and we even watch dumb movies when we should be watching masterpieces because time is short. I finished Tiger King last night. Speaking of, I finished the 7th episode of Tiger King last night. All right, let's go to the comments. On the feel-good side, Jennifer says from New York, every night at 7 p.m., New Yorkers lean out their windows and applaud and cheer for healthcare workers. That's awesome. And did you see this story in downtown Chicago? They started singing the national anthem, and then there was "We Will Rock You" and "We're the Champions," and Brian May shared it on his Instagram. It's been, I'm a little biased, but if you go to Brian May's Instagram channel, he's been posting great clips. He talks to the camera and he plays guitar. He shows you how to play some pieces and he jams on some others, and he's just really fun to watch and really nice, and he's taking this very, very seriously, and he's asking people to take it seriously. We do that here in Canada as well. Darla said, which part was that? The noise thing for the healthcare workers? It's nice, right? Love it. Okay, yeah, that's what it was at. Kimberly, it was built from people fleeing taxes. Yeah, it was built on, decimating the people that worked here and taking their land. It was built on a lot of things. Bill says, I guess he missed the presser today where they said 100,000 dead was a best case scenario. I missed that presser today. I heard, was that Fauci? I heard it third. I was editing today, but 100,000 Americans dead is a best case scenario. And that tell me that where was Trump? And what did we get from Trump on that? That was Anthony Fauci, the medical expert, that said that. Darla, he was bragging about tests to 1 million people. That's such a low percentage of the population. 1 out of 330, like less than a third of a percent, or it's almost exactly. If it's 330 million, 1 out of 330. 1 out of 100 would be 1%. Yeah, whatever. A third of a percent. I heard that if we did a lot of widespread testing, and if we figure out whether having it and surviving it confers immunity, I don't think that's known for sure yet. But if we knew, and then what I hear, there's like 2 different kinds of tests, like one that tests for your infection, but a serum test that if you have the antibodies and you're protected from it, you could potentially resume work, especially as a healthcare worker, that maybe you would be protected this time, unlike the first time when you risked your life to be a healthcare worker. This time, maybe it would be safer for you. And that other people could return to work, but I'm concerned. I haven't heard the follow-up question, which is, but aren't you still contagious? Or can't you still carry it and transfer it to other people? So, Darla says, we're at the beginning of this outbreak. Why would we compare to other completed? It makes no sense. But haven't you seen it? So many people are doing this. More people die of the flu. Yes, the flu has been with us a couple hundred years at least. It's completely widespread, so it's everywhere and everyone can potentially get it. This one has not penetrated that deeply yet. And it's early on. NetReamer, when this is over and the infections and deaths are hopefully reduced, the people that think science is wrong will be saying, see, all that social isolating wasn't even necessary. Yeah, that is, I know. If we succeed in bringing the numbers down, they'll act like it was all for nothing. But fortunately, it doesn't look like we're doing that great a job at social distancing. But, I'd love to know how many people have to do it. If we really did it successfully, if we were really isolated, then I don't know what happens, but the virus can run out of places to go. It runs its course in each host. I need an expert to address this, because this is just my vague understanding that basically, if it has no other host to go into and you survive it, and it can die out on surfaces and things, then it could actually like pretty much die out. But unfortunately, you'd have to have that happen everywhere at the same time, because otherwise it pops up and spreads. So that's not an expert opinion, but something that we should look into. Maybe even me, since I'm interviewing scientists. They've been brainwashed, Bill says, for years to not believe the news, the truth, the science. I know. Darla says no Tiger King spoilers. What episode are you on? There are 7 45 or 50-minute episodes. Darla, snitches get stitches. I don't like to give spoilers, but sometimes you have to. I still have no dropped frames 59 minutes in. Denise says February 14th. So that February 14th on Valentine's Day, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago and a day or two, Trump said, we have a very small number of people in the country right now with it. It's like around 12. Many of them are getting better. Some are fully recovered already, so we're in very good shape. And then on February 26th, which is only 26th, 4 days ago, because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low. When you have 15 people, the 15 within a couple days is going to be down to close to 0. Wait a minute. Oh, it's March 30th. That was a month ago. Oh, okay. It's March 30th. Jesus, where did the time go? Up in virus particles. Okay, so it was back in, I have the time frame wrong. On February 14th, he said it's hardly anyone. February 26th, it still hadn't spread that far here. And so he was saying 15 people, and it's soon ago. So that was February 26th. That's a month ago. And now we have more than any other country. We're number 1. That's a pretty good job we've done. January 17th, second Chinese death. U.S. starts screening passengers from China. It wasn't until January 31st that he blocked travel from China. And I understand that blocking only from China didn't really prevent a lot of people from going from China to making another stop to coming here. I don't know if that really happened, but yeah, Jesus. Let's turn that off a second. Oh, let's take a look over Facebook. And did anyone else tune in over there? Yeah. I've succeeded in stamping out the stream on Facebook. I don't know how many of those people actually came over, but I at least scared them away from there. Albert Nurek is watching. Albert, come on over, dude. Come on over to the dark side. We're all on YouTube. Come on. Get your hand stamped. You're a number. You're not Albert anymore. You're 4789. I can't even make up a random stream of numbers. I ran at 4. You can reuse numbers. 4472193. Good to see you again. Come on, Albert. Get off. I just came over to Facebook to see if anyone is there. I didn't Alberto. I didn't expect it to be you. I didn't expect the Spanish Inquisition. Oh, that's not where I want to be. Mike Gar was watching over there. I'm self-conscious about rubbing my nose, even though I haven't interacted with anyone. That's right, Albert. Oops is right. Oops, motherfucker. I caught you over there. Albert is watching on Facebook. It may as well have said that. Susan says, Happy Pandemic Monday. Woohoo. I don't know about you, but we're celebrating in style. Yeah, it was too late anyway, and Darla. You changed your YouTube name. I see what you did there. It's not Leah anymore. Albert. How will you atone, Albert? I've shamed you. You've shamed yourself. How will you atone? I'm so mad at you that I'm eating junk food in your face, my foodie friend. I like those ones that are curled. Do you? Okay, so if you know what? Just because we need to get in the habit of this. Oh shit! I lost my napkin. How about I run a clip? And it's some of you may have seen it, but it's the video I made that just came out today. It just went live several hours ago today. Congratulations! Restream says I've received 100 messages today with Restream chat. That's you people talking to the tune of 100 messages. Excellent. I don't think that gets me anything, but it's good. It's a measure of engagement. Albert says, a fan walked into a Facebook chat. Denise, I grabbed some chopped veggies from the store. I'll munch on those along with you. And chips. Yep. Oh no, I have some hummus, but I don't think these ruffles would go well in hummus. That seems like a weird combination. But why don't we do this? And I don't know what the relative volume... Oh, I'll find out. No, I won't. Will I? No, because I can't hear how loud this is. So it doesn't matter. So this is... It's not a really long video. I think it's only about 4 minutes with my food safety expert from NC State, Ben Chapman, Dr. Benjamin Chapman. And it starts off a little bit about repeating the low risk of food in virus transfer here, but just listen to the way he phrases it. And I explained something in my intro, and I asked him what worked in the past, like in the 1919 flu. And I learned that social distancing, like we have this feeling like quarantines and social distancing are such a new thing. They're not new. They're old practices and they've worked before. So let's run a clip and we'll be right back. The idea of quarantines and social distancing may seem new to most of us, but it actually has a long history in our battle against viruses and other pathogens. I'm Brian Malow, and I've partnered with Sigma Xi, the Scientific Research Honor Society, to conduct a series of interviews with experts so that I can get research-based answers to some of my questions, which may be some of your questions, concerning the COVID-19 outbreak. In this video, I spoke with Dr. Benjamin Chapman. He's a food safety professor at North Carolina State University, and he talks about the epidemiological evidence concerning food and social distancing. Epidemiology is the study of diseases in populations, and it can help us understand the relative risks associated with various behaviors and modes of transmission. Here's Dr. Chapman.
So we just talked about the food pathway, right? Really unlikely. We know that we don't have any indication, and I really do keep coming back to this epidemiology. If we look at all the epi, so the study of disease, how people get infected with this, it's about being around people that are sick, like that, and like you said, but we don't have any cases that we can point to that said a sick person went to a grocery store and coughed in the produce section, and then all the people that shopped in the produce section also got sick. If we had, and we've got, lots of history around influenza, it's a totally different virus, but the transmission route is similar, like totally different on the number of hospitalizations, the deaths. Like it's hard to compare these two on the public health impacts, but on the mode of transmission, it's very similar. And that's not something that we've ever identified there either. And we've got 100 years of data on epidemiology, and that's not something we've identified. So we feel very like the food safety world, I think, feels pretty confident today with the data that we have that that's not a risk factor for this virus.
So what are the things that worked with influenza? Now, one that we don't have yet is a vaccine so that people would have antibodies built up and could be immune. So besides that, which of course, that's the ideal that we want, yes, a vaccine. Yep. But if we don't have that, what are the other practices not because it's a similar virus, but because similar method of transmission?
Yeah.
What worked with the flu?
So really, this whole concept of quarantine and social distancing was this isn't a new concept for us. Like in the history of humanity, we've been doing this for a long time. I believe the quarantine comes from like 40 days of keeping people this goes back to before influenza, well before influenza in 1918, 1919, but of keeping individuals, and I think this was in Venice, and I'll, of course, butcher this and get it wrong, but it was really about in port cities, if you had goods and you had people that were coming, we're going to keep you in the harbor for 40 days to make sure that you are not getting sick. And then you can come here. So we've been doing this social distancing for a long time.
Hundreds of years even.
Hundreds of years. We haven't had to do it in the same way for about 100 years. And that's really like an interesting place to be at, I think, because we have like so many advances in vaccines and chemical compounds for cleaning and disinfecting and hand sanitizer. All of those things are good, but it's not enough to break that chain for symptomatic people going around other individuals. So now we're at a very it seems like an extreme situation of like, okay, everybody just stay home. Like and it's the right courageous public health thing to do.
So that's it. I like him, and I don't know if in the next day or two I'll have a new video with him. So, Darla, you said that you love that I explained epidemiology. I really did that for a specific reason. The last video in which he talked about the low risk of, Albert, this is related to you. Ellen in Atlanta. Ellen, Albert Nurek is watching, and you don't know his girlfriend Susan, but Ellen in Atlanta is Ellen Malow in Atlanta. I outed you, and Albert Nurek in Houston. I don't think you know anyone else that's on, but Mark Kaplan was on. He doesn't live in Texas anymore. He's in Arizona. He was on earlier. He tunes in every night pretty much. But the reason I explained epidemiology is because the last video about whether takeout and delivery is safe, Albert, you posted it to Reddit, and there were a lot of comments there. And also on Facebook, I saw at least one friend of mine say, that's great that that's your expert opinion, but I choose everything. I'm not doing any of that. We have enough food, and we're gonna just bring stuff in that we know that we handled it and we cooked it. And I saw, and that was okay, because the whole point of, he very carefully said, and I included it in the previous video, was him saying, first of all, that I talk about relative risks. I'm not gonna tell you how scared you should be. That's very personal. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, and I'm not gonna tell you how to feel. This, I'm paraphrasing, but he's really saying, but he does say, I don't know how scared. I'm just gonna tell you that looking at the data, what the relative risks are in terms of, we've just never seen food or food packaging as a vector or as a mode of transmission in the previous, in similar viruses, similar, not necessarily in their health effects, but in their mode of transmission. So I just wanted that to come across clearly, because there were people that were like, hey, so you can still, they were saying like, because what he's saying, he's not saying that it's not possible that it could happen. He's not saying that it's impossible to get infected by a food delivery. He's not saying that at all. He's just saying that it's a lower risk by the data. We don't seem to have evidence of that being a case. We have lots of evidence of hanging around people and it transferring that way. So there. Thanks for supporting my brother. Yeah, Albert, thanks for supporting Ellen's brother. If that's how you think of it, thank you for supporting Ellen's brother. Me. Ellen, every time I tell people on Facebook that they should, like, I'll pop this up, and I'll say that if you're watching on Facebook, would you please join us over on YouTube? And my channel is youtube.com/Science Comedian. That's me. And they've come to expect, and then when I didn't do it, a couple people asked me why I didn't do it that time. So if anyone is over on Facebook or Periscope, I invite you to come on over to the dark side. And by the dark side, we mean over there. Oh, by the way, we need to do a new sync update, my friends. Albert says, we all think of you as Ellen's brother. She's the good Mallow. Okay, so when I ran that clip of the previous of that video, I looked over and I had 48 dropped frames. So that's why we have to do a sync test. It may have been before the clip. That's just when I noticed it. The clip was playing and I noticed, but I hadn't looked in a long time. Really? Like, are you sure? Here's the best test. And okay, my friends, you have to forgive me for repeating this yet again, but Jennifer is a video editor. Jennifer, I have to rant. I've had so many weird issues. I'm using a piece of software called OBS. It's free. It's like a mixer. It enables me to, I can cut to other scenes. And in fact, I'm using a separate little device, a Stream Deck, to set up scenes and to queue up stuff. I could play a music clip. I could play the video. And I could pull up a lower third, all that, whatever. My audio and video are coming in as one source because my mic is going into my camera through a Blackmagic device into this software, but they shouldn't get out of sync. They're coming in as one, you know what I mean? But here's the weirdest part. I'm streaming simultaneously to 2 Facebook pages, YouTube and Twitter / Periscope. It's usually in sync live, although on some of the long ones, we're at 1:16. Sometimes later, they drift out of sync, but they're mostly in sync perfectly live. Later, the YouTube one is usually fine and the Twitter one too, but the Facebook one, totally out of sync. And maybe it's in sync on a desktop, totally out of sync on an iPhone. My neighbor looked at it on an Android phone and it was fine, out of sync on here. So very weird. And then to make things even weirder, the first day I encountered that, I sent, the YouTube video, the Facebook version that was totally out of sync, especially if you start scrolling around, it goes more out of sync. But sometimes it's like, it's playing fine on my laptop. But when I go to my iPhone, it's out of sync. Same file, totally out of sync from the beginning. So I sent the link to the Facebook video. I texted it to a friend of mine. And have you ever looked, so there it was, I'm looking in the text window. And there's like 2 different ways to play a file within that messaging app. There's one way where you would click it and it'll launch the Facebook app and it's out of sync. But you could also touch it lightly and it just plays right there in the text window and it was in sync. Clicked it, launched the app, out of sync. Right there is the only, it's like, what the hell is going on? And then it got worse because I had some instances. Rob Leiter, dude. Okay, you're excused because this wasn't on the screen. Rob, I'm not Frank Oral, but I'm Brian fucking Malow. And I would love it if you would come over to my YouTube channel. It's right here, youtube.com/Science Comedian. That's youtube.com/Science Comedian. This is not a recording. Please hang up and dial again. If this had been a real emergency, Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump would have contracted the virus. Maybe it is a conspiracy. I'm not going to believe it until Mitch gets it. Rob, come over to my YouTube channel. It helps me. I'm trying to build up my YouTube presence. NetReamer, I've got a question for an expert for a future video. I hear that South Korea did lots of testing and tracing. Is it really possible to get fair tracing data when people are contagious for so long? Yeah, I know, it's so weird, but maybe over time, because there's this weirdness of, so one of the reasons they think this is more problematic than the flu is that the flu, a couple days after you're infected, within a couple days you show symptoms and you're like probably going to socially distance yourself. You're not going to go to work. You're not going to cough on. You're going to say, hey, don't shake my hand. I'm kind of sick. And with this one, the average is 5 to 7 days between infection and onset of symptoms, and sometimes up to 2 weeks. So there is this long period where you could be contagious. I don't think we really know. So, hey, Mark Kaplan is back. Ellen, are you still out there? My sister was just here. Mark, you went to bed. Mark, you left a long time ago. Was that a trick? Did you hear me talking about you to my sister? So there is this idea, though, that we don't know how many, today we know how many people were infected 2 weeks ago. And to find out how many people were actually infected on March 30th, we kind of need to wait 2 weeks. But how do you separate out? Some people are on set in 5 days, some people are on set in 12 days. All the people that get sick that day aren't the people that were infected on this day. I don't know, that's some messy stuff, but I'll bet they have some... Oh, you had a conference call. I thought you were going to bed. Darla, Brian, can turtles contract the virus? Oh yeah, Mitch McConnell, he might be safe. Because is he even a fucking mammal? Does he have he doesn't seem to have a 4-chambered heart like we do. Right? Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. Rob Leiter, show up over on YouTube and say hi. I'll give you $1. I'd buy that for $1. Name the movie reference. I'd buy that for $1. Name the movie reference. Who will be first? Name that movie reference. I'd buy that for $1. Don't make me keep saying it. He's spineless, so right, he's not even a vertebrate. Come on, Albert, you know that movie, don't you? I'd buy that for $1. Don't make me be more obvious. I'll give you a minute, and then I have another clue I can give you from this. Oh, no! It's not from the same movie. Never mind. Dude. Come on, isn't anyone gonna... Here's the lag on this. It's over on Facebook. No, that doesn't... The video just ended. But I stopped it and restarted it, but that's weird, isn't it? It shouldn't be that far behind. There you go, Mark Kaplan. You didn't cheat, did you? Did you Google that? That's from RoboCop. It's said multiple times in that movie. It's like on television, like some Saturday Night Live, like some sort of variety comedy show that they have it as their catchphrase. Mark Kaplan and Jennifer, I thought you might say. So then I was going to give you a clue, and then I realized it's a different movie. Do you know, what about Blue Sky on Mars? Do you know what that's a reference to? No, you didn't have to look it up? I hope not. What about Blue Sky on Mars? That's even subtler in a way, but it's important. Blue Sky on Mars? It's a song or an album by Matthew Sweet, I think, but older than that. Yeah, it's a fake TV ad. Is that what it is? I thought it was like a variety show or something, and I thought we heard it more than once in the movie. Like maybe someone also says it off the TV. The Marching Morons. What's the Marching Morons? 48 dropped frames and we're still in sync. I don't even know what that means anymore. So I really thought we would do a short one tonight, that I would just like reach out, chat with you for a bit, but here we are, an hour and 23 minutes later, and the clock is still ticking. And I while the video was playing, oh, hey Jennifer, I don't know, what kind of music do you like? And as a follow-up, where do you stand on Queen and Brian May? But most relevant right this second is, are you a fan of Steve Vai, the guitarist Steve Vai at all? I'd buy that for $1, He's like a Benny Hill type character in RoboCop. Yeah. That's how I remember it, like on TV, but like a variety show. You like everything but country, but do you know this guy Steve Vai by any chance? Because I was at an event last year with some rock stars, and you love Queen. Okay, because otherwise I would have you banned from the stream, of course. Uh-oh. I touched something, and now I went to the wrong page. Let's get this back up. Okay. Yeah. I especially old school Queen. They go way back for me. But I did this great event, Starmus. I got to co-host the opening ceremony and host things throughout the week. And Steve Vai was super nice and rocked. And I haven't played this in a while, and I know most of you have seen it. But what happened is Chris Hadfield, the Canadian astronaut, was also... Oh! Darla! You haven't seen me play any Steve Vai or anything, have you? So, at the Starmus Festival in Zurich last summer, during the dress rehearsal, a few hours before the show, I shot some stuff because I knew I was hosting the show. I wouldn't be able to do this during the show. So I had my iPhone and I got some real close-up stuff while Steve Vai played this song of his called For the Love of God. And I just shot it really close up. And I'd come into the middle or like early on, and then I just randomly caught this thing that was Chris Hadfield. When he was on the space station, the ISS, he made a rock video to his own cover of A Space Oddity by David Bowie. And it went pretty viral, and it was him on the space station, all around it, singing A Space Oddity, with slightly rewritten words that his son, I think, rewrote some of the words to, I'm enunciating like the president. He rewrote some words to be like references to station and stuff like that. And so all these musicians were backed up by Hans Zimmer and like a 42-piece orchestra and like 32-person choir. And so the orchestra's on stage and he's there, and Steve Vai and Rick Wakeman on piano, Rick Wakeman from Yes. But after this rehearsal, they said they took Steve Vai off this song because he has a long song of his own. So they took him off and let it just be Rick Wakeman. So what I recorded here only happened at the dress rehearsal, and I'm the only person who has this recording. So that's all to say, this is a friend of Brian May of Queens. And so just this moment that I think, and Darla, are you still out there? Because I don't think you've heard me play any of this stuff. And I thought you had a connection to Steve Vai. So this is really short, and I think what Steve Vai does here is way better than the studio version. Check this out.
Detach from the station and make us love be with you.
It's really short and sweet, but it is sweet. I love that. And then during his I shot this stuff of him jamming. I'll just show you what it's like. Yeah, the guy rocks, and very nice too. He was super nice, and so was everyone. So anyway, little music breaks. We played one other video. I really am. I've been spending extra time editing, and so, and I've enjoyed doing these. Somewhere I want to learn this other software package, and then, experiment with that. And that has, the other one I want to experiment with integrates with Skype, and I may try doing some live interviews. They might have to shift to earlier in the day, or experts on the West Coast. Yes, there are many solutions. So the chat's gone quiet, so I'm gonna just wrap it up. Let's take this, I'll get the hell out of here before anyone even knows. You guys have been awesome, and hold on, let me see something. All right. I wonder if there's a way I could have done that without it being live. I'm not sure. But anyway, you guys, thanks for tuning in, guys and girls. I hope you're hunkering down and being safe. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better, so just be safe. It's going to be more widespread. If it hasn't come to a neighborhood near you yet, it may very well soon. So hunker down, be safe. Albert says that's code for another hour. Well, you guys got real quiet for a long time, and I was feeling lonely. It didn't seem like I was talking to anybody. Susan laughed at that, and Denise says, I love Steve Vai, and I'm hunkered down. I like the purple glow you got going on. Yeah, that's kind of reddish, but you know what? That new toy just arrived today. It's a light, and it's tunable, and I think I can even have it in one mode where it cycles through different colors. But with my bright, I was saying earlier that if the white lights that are on me, if they were small and directional, they wouldn't wash this out, then it could be really, really red. Let's take a look. Let's do a little experiment. I mean, I can do this. I could do this when we're not on, but look at what happens if I turn this light off. Oh man, I went too dark, huh? See, too dark. Am I right, or? Oops, that won't work. All right, let's turn that back on because that's not as pretty as I wanted it to be. I can turn it down, but it was already kind of low. But anyway, that's a new toy. That light just arrived today, and earlier I experimented with like a blue tint, but I really wish there was some way it could not be landing red on the moon. Like the moon could be its own color, but there's no way because the light is falling all around there. It's pretty dramatic over here and here. It doesn't seem as obvious back here. I guess it does, because that should be white, the border around that. I don't know. So, oh wow, so I caused you guys to start tweeting, huh? Or messaging. I'm hunkered down. I like the purple glow. Thanks. Mark Albert Classic. Is that what that's code for another hour? Is that what you're our second favorite Malow. I'm number two. I'm number two of how many? 2. Kimberly, I'm just listening. Sorry, I forgot to chat. I was riveted. Yeah, I'm pretty on tonight. This is me hitting on all cylinders. Wow, a car analogy of some sort that I don't fully understand. Albert, you can help me with that analogy. That was way too dark. But if I had, it's just that they're not very directional, the 2 lights that are on me right now. So they're washing that out a little bit. But the other solution is to just that was not an expensive, so I saw someone plugging a tunable light like that cost $150. So I just went and looked, and I found several others that were much cheaper, and I think they were the same wattage. That other one might have been a little more, but this, I think I only paid 20 or 30, 40, something like that. Way less than 150. So I should just get a second one. The two of them combined and behind me could give a nice, and if I wanted to, I could put some red over here and some blue over here or something. But really what I'm thinking is just two tuned to the same color could make that more distinct. And if it's too much, they also have intensity. They have intensity, their color temperature is tunable. And there was like green and yellow, but the red and the blue really look the coolest to me so far. And the intensity you can control as well. But I'll just throw two of them on the background. When in doubt, more. Just throw more at it. That almost always works, doesn't it? And it's okay if you're just listening. I mean, I actually do see that we have upwards of 12 people watching on YouTube. And on Facebook, hard to say. There might be a few people over on Facebook. I invite you, come over to my YouTube channel. Melissa, if you're really out there on Facebook, come over to youtube.com/Science Comedian. Science Comedian's my channel on YouTube. Come over there. All the good chatting, all the cool kids are over there. So I could pop that up again for a sec. So yeah, come over to youtube.com, the Science Comedian channel over there. Yeah, that purplish, you know, I really chose it as I cycled through the colors with my hand against it. I chose it for the ones that had the richest, darkest, because some of them were like, they didn't seem to have the same intensity, and I knew I needed it. So I think I'll need a second one. But you find that nice and calming? The blue was neat, but that would be a different tone. Too dark. That turned dark quickly. Can you get a blue spot? Am I late? Oh, Melissa. Oh, you commented. Ugh. Is that ugh? Did you just make that ugh based on the fact that I invited you over to YouTube? Or what was it? That's the one thing about the comments. So often you see a comment and it's like, oh, you laughed. At what exactly? Albert, can you get a blue spot? We definitely need more light on you. Not more than this, though. I mean, this isn't even that bright. Although I have an issue. The monitor I'm seeing this on is not calibrated the same as my laptop. And so everything looks so... I can't... I don't know what I should be judging by. And I'm looking into a camera over here with the view screen popped out. So I see through... I have two different images. It looks different on all of them. You'll have way more in a year. I watch YouTube in my headphones all day. Lives after the... Oh, lives after? Like, after they're not live? That's a stretch. What's a stretch, Mark? Are my faves. Oh, lives after are your faves. Ellen says I do have to work in the morning. Hasta mañana. Good night, Mark and Albert and the rest of the gang. Thanks, Ellen. Bye. Maybe I missed you already. 23:25. Is it really that late? Jesus. We still only have 48. I mean, sync. We were never in tune. Are we in sync? Are we in sync? Are we in sync? Sync! I could use more light on me, yeah. But it's late at night, you know? I should slowly dim it down late at night and talk to you like I'm your partner on FaceTime, laying in my bed at night with barely any light on me. Melissa, you're here. Now I'm happy. Now I can retire. Oh, you came in, but my numbers went down. So, my sister left. So we lost her. You've replaced my sister. Yes, thank you. I kind of like you with this softer light. Well, thank you. You know, the other thing is, I left the camera on autofocus, and I don't know if the focus is sharp. And what I really want is to be manually focused on me, and hopefully that's a little out of focus. But I suspect everything back there looks kind of sharp, doesn't it? So I don't look out of focus, but I may not be in the sharp focus I want. So usually I should take the time. But you know what? When you live alone and you're doing this kind of thing alone, it's hard to set up and focus things and set lights that you'd like to see how they look on someone. I need someone, and in the days of the virus, it's hard to get someone to come over into your infected home. Oh, by the way, so, you know, a week or so ago, there were photos of people in lines outside of gun stores, and I don't have a gun. I shouldn't even say this on the air, but I shouldn't let anyone know this publicly. I don't have a gun. This household is not armed. But I do have pointy things. But someone said, you don't have to have a gun, just you should put a sign outside that says this house guarded by Smith & Wesson. Or protect this, yeah. Put a sign outside that says this house protected by Smith & Wesson. Yeah, that's so 2019. What you put outside are quarantine signs. Quarantine, warning, biohazard signs that say this house is under quarantine for a bad infection. Isn't that better? I don't know when you put those up, and I don't know how much protection that will give you for how long, but if you're afraid of someone breaking in, this is the kind of creative person I am. Oh yeah, still in sync? Okay. Oh, even though there's now 86 dropped frames. Even now, still in sync. Am I in sync? Am I in sync? Sync? Really? 86 frames dropped. I don't know what that means. I don't know where it gets fixed, because I send this signal to this Restream service, and they give me a report, and even when I've dropped frames, their report says that there were no dropped frames in their stream. I don't know what it even means anymore. Okay. Totally not a narcissist. 3 videos of yourself. Wait a minute. 2 of them were of Steve Vai. I am not Steve Vai. 1 of them was of me. Oh, the screens. Okay, that's right. Yeah, I am looking at myself. You're right. Literally Narcissus. When you pointed just then, the light hotspot was on your hand. Oh, you know, like, yeah, in an attempt to not wash out the background, I tilted these lights. One of the lights is small. One is big and has barn doors. The barn doors could kind of block it, but what I did is I tilted it. They're not shining directly on my face. This one is shining down here somewhere. It's like really hitting here more than my face. I think you can even tell that it's brighter down here. But I did that because I was trying not to wash out the background and just get enough white on me. I just need a more directional spot. I need a spot on me. Something small and like a spot. That's what I need. Maybe a spot, something like a spot. Did he say spot? Get him a spot. The cool kids over here, yes, in sync still. It's the inverse effect of fandom. Thanks, Melissa. There was some drop frames at the beginning of the sync test, but then it caught up and became in sync again. Crazy. Well, Jennifer, I know, but when I shoot, I have done it already, and the thing is, I can zoom in a little. That accentuates it a little, but I'm limited by the size of this room. It's 12 feet. There's a bookcase there, so you lose a foot of it right there. I can come closer to the camera, put more distance between me and the background, or I can zoom in more, but then, I don't want to just be a little head in there. So I kind of want this much space. So it is a dilemma. If I wasn't using the tripod, I could put a shelf or something and the camera could be a little farther away. Or I could do something with the tripod. I could put it a little closer to but it's very inconvenient because then I can't get behind. Sometimes I need to get behind it and look. It's hard to judge. It's hard to set up a shot with the viewfinder flipped backwards this way and looking this way and then tilting the camera. Sometimes it's nice to be, it's easiest to be behind the camera and it's right up against the wall, but there's enough room to put my head to reach around. But yeah, no, I can do it. And I can set the focus to be like in this area right around here, like my farther, where if I lean forward a little, it's best. And it starts to go out of focus, but it's not real obvious with this, yeah. Except when you zoom in, then if you zoom in and focus on me, it's pretty obvious. You understand. I'm explaining how lenses work to a video editor. Not really. Mark Kaplan, attack doves. Melissa says, I need to get one of those. Yep, still in sync. Crazy. It drops frames to stay in sync. I don't know. That piece of software, here's a weird thing too. How about this twist to the story? If I'm looking at one of those Facebook versions, if I'm looking at one of those Facebook ones, and it's completely out of sync, but then the guy on camera, the Brian on camera, then he plays a clip like Steve Vai or Brian talking. Like I played some interview clips. I play a clip of me talking to Alan Stern. That part is completely in sync, which then lends me to believe that it does have something to do with the audio and the video of that camera, but they're coming in as one source. But I'm gonna try a completely different piece of software. And I wonder if that'll solve some of these problems. Some of it might just be, somebody else told me, I'm making a video and sending it to a place, I'm compressing it. It's getting compressed here and going out. Then it's being sent to a place, they're compressing, they're sending it out to 4 different places. And then those places, maybe when they receive it, it gets compressed. So there's like so many places where something could go wrong. It might be like that. Jennifer, you said something about the external monitor. My external monitor is the one that's off the most. I bought it recently and it's calibrated pretty dark. Things look extra dark on there compared to my phone, my laptop, and that screen. So I don't really know how to calibrate a monitor, but I need to make it look more like my laptop does. Because that one isn't good. It's way too dark. But I have an external monitor. Bill says you need a Brian Malow mannequin to set up the shots. That is what I need, and it has to be similar skin tone. It's similar albedo, and because it's very hard to experiment with lights when you have to sit in it and then look at it, and it's too small there. And on the external monitor, I can't trust that. That's bigger, but I don't trust it. And the focus is tough. Because I can set something up, like I'll put some foam or something here, but it's not sitting in the same place my head is. It's leaning against the back here. And so I know that that's really not where my face is when I sit here. It's not it's like, do you follow me? And yeah, I could probably come a little closer. I just need to experiment, but it's been very hard because I really started live streaming the day my first gig was canceled, and I just haven't had a lot of company. I had company one time, really, well, more than once, but one real bout of comedy. My neighbors came over a week and a half or so ago, and we watched Parasite. None of us had seen it, rented it on Amazon for $5.99 at the top. time, and we watched. Yeah, with all the marking up of stuff, it's not like Amazon and Netflix have marked up all their price. It's like, oh, so now everything's more expensive because you want it. Have you seen a meme going around to this effect? I've seen a few people share it. This idea that, a lot of times people downplay the importance of the arts, but it was like, remember, when this is all over, just remember how much time you spent hunkered down watching Netflix and Amazon and listening to podcasts and listening to music. And the next time you downplay the importance of the arts and the need to fund the arts, just remember how the arts got you through this. And I think when they say the arts, they're mostly talking about this. They don't want to be obvious about it, but clearly they're talking about what you and I are doing right here, specifically me and specifically you here on my live streams. But it also has, so if you haven't liked this video, give it a like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And if you walk out of the room, mute me, let it play. I'll get watched hours. I'd rather you interact with me, but hey, Jennifer, by the way, and Kimberly and anyone else who's out there, this is bullshit what's happening right now. But this will evolve into more of a show. It'll always have some looseness like this, but I also want it to have some slicker parts, some segments, and where I actually bring material. But right now, during the day, instead of planning what I'm going to talk about here, I've been busy. I've been trying to interview people and make videos and keep up with the news. And then when I hear my neighbors and their dogs outside, try to get a little social interaction at a pretty good distance. And so there's some software I need to learn. I want to experiment with this completely different package. It'll enable me, it integrates with Skype, and I may start doing some live interviews here and then have some other segments. So, and more, and graphics and things. I just haven't had a chance to work on it, so I just come on and bullshit. And are we really still in sync? Oh man, this was gonna be a short one. Who remembers? Albert, it's your fault, Albert. If you hadn't said that, I would probably have wrapped up, and then you people, and now you know where we are? Do you know where we are? We're at 1 hour and 51 minutes. That's where we are. That's what it's come to. And it's your fault. And don't tell me I accept no responsibility whatsoever for anything ever. The buck stops over there. Melissa a long time ago said, or you could be overthinking it. Have you seen all the news reporters and experts doing video calls on the news from home? Oh yeah, all sorts of, have you noticed? Was that me overthinking? But I wanted to, but here's the thing, I have a little bit of a video background and I want myself, so you notice the videos I'm putting out, those are Skype calls. The interview with the guy is a Skype call, and I could have just thrown it up as two heads and all, but I wanted to make it look nicer than that. I want it to look cooler and more professional, and I want to improve it. And I did some editing too. Hey Jennifer, if you watch my videos, there might be some parts, like somebody said to me in one part that some reaction shot of me was too long in a previous video. But what he did not understand is that there was a reason the reaction shot was long. The reaction shot was covering an edit, or it was covering something else that I wanted covered up. So you understand. And in the video I just put out, there's a little part of me talking that I made 2 edits to, and I covered them in kind of 2 different ways with editing. I had to cover 2 edit points in one piece that I say, because it was too long. I was so long-winded, and I realized I could cut it out and it would be better for it. And the first one is seamless. The second one, like, you would probably notice it on first watch, but maybe a lot of people wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like one of those kind of edits where it would probably jump out at you, but to a lot of people, it might just be, oh, it goes with the edit. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm overthinking it, but I just want it to look good. But man, ever since this started, every single musician and comedian has been doing live streams, and cartoonists and scientists, and just everyone is live streaming. It's crazy. There's tech gear that is no longer available. There's some stuff related to live streaming, a device that I was thinking about getting months ago, and I dragged my feet, and I don't really need it right now, but I thought it would be fun to play with. And it was about $300 though, so it's not like it's not expensive, but it's $300. It's not cheap, but recently it's sold out everywhere because everyone is like, well, let's get one of those and do streaming. So Albert is like, the diagonal of your room would give you more distance. David, so what I have here, here's what you don't know. I set up a studio in one room, and shooting this direction, I have the bookcase behind me. But shooting at a right angle, if I put the camera on this wall, shooting that way, I have a screen that's white on one side and black on the other. So I've used a white background in my videos, and I've used the black for a stream before. And I have a green screen, and I've used that for a couple streams, but I have stuff in mind for all of those. So instead of the diagonal, which doesn't work, like it wouldn't be efficient for what I'm getting out of this. What I'm getting is a black or white screen background or a green screen, and I can do whatever I want with it. And in fact, this thing right here, oh, you didn't hear, I was trying to talk over that, but I realized you didn't hear the audio when I went to that. That graphic is for the green screen for one project that I want to work on, that's my background. And I think that blue light is going to help me with this too. Because for the backlight, instead of white, I thought, since that trippy space blue background, my backlight should be blue. So I have some blue light hitting me, and I haven't had a chance to experiment with that because that light just arrived today. So I'm set up here. What you don't see right here is there's a shotgun mic that's just a couple inches out of the shot. And so I'm not wearing a lavalier because I have a shotgun mic pointed right at my mouth. And just like not much more than a foot away. I have a camera over here. But like I said, I had to switch things around already today because I had to do an interview thing with this background. But earlier today, I shot against the white screen. That video that I played earlier, I shot that this morning. I had finished editing the video last night, except for the intro. So this morning or afternoon, I shot the intro against the white. And you know what? In terms of overthinking, I can overthink some shit. Fuck you. It's true. Okay, yeah, okay. Some people are underthinking. You ever think about that? Maybe you're just underthinking. It looks like overthinking to you, but that's because you're an underthinker. I'm an overthinking over you, but that's because you're an underthinker. Yeah. Now look who's pointing fingers. Anyway, sometimes I underthink stuff too. Sometimes I just think, and sometimes I overthink. But sometimes I do too many takes of stuff. The intro, it's not perfect, but the intro I threw on to the video about social distancing isn't new. So I shot it against the white. So I had to set everything and blast the white so it's overexposed. And in the end, I still could have brought myself. I was afraid that I was blasting the white so high that I missed it again. I think that I did bring the exposure up on me a little bit, even in post-production, but I lowered the dark parts to have some contrast, and I don't know if I nailed it. But, so I do have to switch some lights around. So I have a system that you can't see, I'll show you some other time, where I can move lights and microphones around, and they're suspended. I can show you something. Let me show you something, because I'm kind of proud of it. I am proud of this. I ordered these things. Damn it. They're telescoping. So they're telescoping like this. And they're designed to be screwed into a wall or a ceiling. But I knew that I couldn't commit to specific locations for the lights because until I experiment, I wouldn't know, and I want the ability to move them. And like I said, I want to shoot lights set up over there where for the screens, they have to be lit, especially the green screen has to be lit on its own and then me lit separately. And then there's this, and I want to be able to move it. So I created a system where I did this. I had some help, but it was all conceived by me. I bought thin-plated metal on Amazon, and then my friend Mark helped me with this. I attached them to pieces of wood. So they're basically these panels, and they're suspended from the ceiling with very long screws. I have 8 or 9 panels that are 2 foot by 1 foot. And instead of screwing these into the wall, I bought, we're still on manual focus, right? I bought those really strong neodymium magnets. And in fact, they're so strong that I only need 2 of them. And then I have placers. These are like, what do you buy? Those things that you buy for the bottoms of chairs, for or furniture or something, like the part that touches the floor. These plastic things. And the reason I said crap before is because in order to be quiet and stuff, I put a little piece of felt on this one. But this one I just knocked off because they were glued on, but damn it, super glue wasn't so super. But anyway, imagine this. This I can just attach right there, and I can have a light right there, or I can take it and move it, and the microphone. And it's pretty genius. I may have overthought that, but I have a studio with a lot of flexibility here. So the only thing is when I shift, I have to move the camera, reset it up, balance it, get it right. But it actually, I'm getting quicker at it, and I need to, some lights can stay where they are, but some, like this bright key light right there, it doesn't have to be really moved. It just has to be turned from here over to there. But a couple of them have to be moved or turned. Not many, only one. Like all I have to do is buy 1 more light or 2, and then I really wouldn't have to move them. I might do that. It'd be easier. All right, let's check some comments. We're at 201.53 and 86 dropped frames. Some of that is for me to view later to see how bad the sync is. I need to be away from the background, right? External monitor, Brian Malow, where are we? Overthinking. We could say it's an effect of the quarantine, but we know that's not true. A body double for the nude scenes too. Bill says a styrofoam head on a stick. Yeah. But on the bottom there has to be something too, so I need to put it so that the head comes right where I am. Nude scenes, subscribe, says Albert. Sorry, that was Melissa. Susan, we all have things we fixate on or obsess about, especially when we talk to ourselves or our animals all day. We start to doubt our sanity. Yep. Jennifer, you love Parasite? Yeah. Did you watch? You know what? I've only seen one of the other Best Picture nominees, and it was The Irishman. Wouldn't have even been on my list as a nominee. I love Scorsese, and I like some of his gangster films and stuff, and it just did nothing for me. But Parasite was really cool in a lot of ways. It's very strange and hard to figure out, like, some of the decisions, like why it is exactly what it is. But yeah, it's very cool. Denise, you posted that meme? Yeah, about the artists. Mark says, average night, is this an average night? Jennifer, trying to edit you guys on Hacking the Planet and Truth About Twisters from those Skype calls. That was sync crazy. Oh, really? Where there's the Skype calls would be out of sync and stuff? So Some of you might know that I was in a TV show called Hacking the Planet, and this other one called The Truth About Twisters, and they were both on the Weather Channel, and they were both with the same on-screen actors, Cara Santa Maria and John Rennie. And John is, he's a former editor of Scientific American, like editor-in-chief of Scientific American. And he also has a little bit of an improv comedy background. He's very funny. So he's like a science writer, science communicator, and he's done some on-screen hosting stuff, and his wife is a professional video editor, and she edited on both of these projects. And for Hacking the Planet, did we do that on both of them, on The Truth About Twisters too? There were parts where in Hacking the Planet, John was the host, but periodically through the show, he would check in via Skype with me, or Google Hangouts or something, with me and Cara. So there were sequences, and you had a lot of footage to work with because they sent us camcorders. So we did a Skype call or a Google Hangout, and they could see, you could see, they would shoot John and you'd see what's on his screen. There's me and Cara on his screen. But they also had to set up a camcorder, me and Cara, like off to the side, and shoot that through the whole call and then send them those files. So you had a lot of stuff you were working with. Albert says, I blame myself. 2 hours closer to monetization. That's right, you guys. Some of you have been watching an hour, and that's given me a watched hour. You know what? Because of that, the videos I've been making, so today, it's not gonna be as big, but that one a few days ago, it got 5,000 views in like 24 hours. And that's incredible for me. And it was more than 200 watched hours. So there's this, I have to have 4,000 watched hours in the past year. So for the past 365 days, to even apply for monetization, you need 4,000 watched hours. You need 1,000 subscribers as well, but I already have that. I've got 2,200 subscribers, but you have to have this certain amount before you can even request monetization. So I was at like 800 or 900 over the past year, but just these past couple or few weeks with the live streams and a couple videos, the Precautions Not Panic one also did pretty well. It has at least over 3,000 views, and this other one has over 5,000 views. So now I'm at like 1.3 out of the 4 that I need. I'm beyond 1,300. So it's slow, but I'm getting there. And if I would just do a lot more videos, and some of them might hit, it would do. So together, and you can help by just liking some of my videos, watching some videos, subscribing to my channel, playing something on YouTube and leaving the room. Or sharing, trying to get somebody else to tune into these. This could be so much fun if I could make a living doing this and then really put some effort into it instead of this bullshit. But here's something else that I'm gonna do. So my intention, there's some things I should be taking, in the end, I should be recording more on the camcorder as well, because what I'm sending out, 100 dropped frames. Is it still in sync? NetReamer, use the green screen with a photo of the bookcase. Don't you remember on my old show? I did that sometimes 20 years ago. I had a photo of my bedroom, and I sometimes keyed that in behind me. So it's like, instead of that spaceship looking background, it was just me in my bedroom. And Alex was onto this. Some people have learned this, but Alex knew this 20 years ago. He put a picture behind him. His looked pretty real. He just had like a view of the bay, and he photoshopped in like part of a window frame, like one vertical strut, and then the rest was like you're looking out windows. And I think he blurred it a little bit, if I remember correctly. So even though it was just a still image, but he blurred it a little bit. Anyway, it's just that, especially when they're 2 hours long, I don't have time to go through this and locate some funny parts. If you ever want to do that, if there's some section of this, like, because I might want to try to find little bits, little funny, spontaneous moments, and upload them as individual videos. So you could maybe help me if you locate some of those during any shows. If you think some little thing is kind of funny, I could either redo it better or it's just funny as a spontaneous moment. I need the time code. I need to know where it is, in which episode. I'd be game for that, and I'm gonna work towards that. It's just really hard. Do I want to spend 2 hours looking at this stupid thing later after I already spent 2 hours doing it? All right, let's try to get through. Okay, you're the Tiger King of science comedy, Albert. My yoga studio is live streaming. Cool. Susan says, I like the bookshelf. It lends a cozy atmosphere. Yeah. And I think occasionally, like at least once, I pulled a book off. My neighbor borrowed a couple books from me because she's a voracious reader and she's got a lot of extra time right now. And I pulled them off the shelf, told her I hadn't touched them in a long time. I used a paper towel, and she was still going to probably disinfect them. Susan, better than a shotgun at your back going to the altar. I don't know what that's in reference to, Susan, but Denise laughed at it. You're overthinking. Hey, John, I didn't notice. I just got to those comments, so I didn't notice you were out there. Dude, I referenced you earlier saying you were helping me with some sports ball analogies. I came up with something. You know what's a good analogy? What were Hank Aaron's home runs like? I mean, it's kind of dated, but it's okay. But I kind of riffed something earlier today. See, where was that in this video? Who knows? But much earlier, I riffed something about that whole thing that I want to rant. And like, what if Hank Aaron had some early seasons, like let's say several years into his career, you're like, boy, that guy hits a lot of home runs. You know, if he had a long career, it's like, Babe Ruth had 714. This is nothing. That's the analogy. It's like, this is nothing. Babe Ruth had 700. Yes, by the time he retired. But guess what? You know what happened by the time Hank Aaron retired? That's right. It was more. A home run, just like the coronavirus. Use the green screen with a photo of the bookcase. Meta overthinking, a soundstage in your house. Yeah. Now, I was concerned because having metal plates up there, that's not going to be good for the audio. So I came up with a system of hanging some fabric around them and like Velcro and fabric. And the windup is I did it to one of them, and I haven't done it to all of them, and I'm not sure it matters, but I haven't really finished soundproofing this room. The sound could be better. I do have a shotgun mic just pointing right at my mouth, but I'll bet I could still remove some echo. But I put down carpeting. There's some acoustic panels on the ceiling, but I didn't finish. I need to finish. But the virus was upon us, and we just had to start. Perfection is the death of pretty good or something like that. Sliders, casters, thank you. They're like casters. Okay, that light thing is pretty damn cool. Do you like it? It's tunable to different colors. Hey, John, I just got this light. It just arrived today from Amazon.com. You can get so many things there. And so I'm testing it. But my white lights here are washing it out a little because they're not focused enough just on me. So they're washing out the background color a little. So I might need a second one. John knows the fancy Hollywood lingo. Casters, buddy. You can print that. The sink is still fine? That is crazy. Saw all the nominees, Mark says, and Parasite was the best of all. I'm glad you thought so. I heard 1917 is really good, and I have not seen the Tarantino film, even. I mean, I would be surprised if I would think it was the best picture of the year. But I don't know, I hear good things about it. Daniel Whiteson. Hey man, how long ago are you still out there? 2355. I've been gabbing. So I don't know if you're still out there, but I'm doing well, Daniel. How are you doing in Southern California? We're watching on 4 devices. Man, we're gonna get to 4,000. Hey, at some point we're gonna have to talk about exercise. We ate some potato chips tonight. It's like the anti-exercise. Oh my God, it's midnight. I didn't want this to go this long. You people have done this to me. Still in sync. In different parts of the world, in Pennsylvania and in Texas. Netreamer, I remembered your bedroom on the green screen 20 years ago. That's why I said it. I can still remember Alex's reaction when he realized you did that. Oh, was he like, did he think it was stupid? Or do you remember the time Alex lost his shit at me? Nobody witnessed this. I think my girlfriend at the time was there. I think Lisa was there. And he got so mad at me, and it was so explosive that I laughed, like a nervous laugh, and that sent him through the stratosphere. And that's a lesson I learned, that when people kind of get that kind of temper, and because I had it happen a second time too, where some guy lost his shit at me, and they would rather you get mad back at them. Maybe they want you to cower down or meet them on that term, but if you are amused by them and they're going like, and you're like amused by that, they hate that. And then they get even madder. And that's how I didn't do this to his face because he was my boss and he was big and he was loud and angry and I wasn't ready for any of it. But in retrospect, when I was mocking it, I would be going like, ooh, ooh. Like everything he was doing was some sort of threat display. Oh, look at you. But I didn't laugh in his face, but the other guy I kind of did. And it's like, people don't like that. I think they'd rather you get mad. The shotgun mic just inches out of the frame. Oh. Yeah, better than the shotgun at your back getting married. Gotcha. Perfection is the death of creativity. I've heard about not creativity, but it's the death of, like, something about good enough. Like, it's the enemy of, like something, at some point, your shit has to be getting back. Jennifer, you must know this. I'm terribly slow editing because I want the edits to look good. You know, I want, like, if it's cutting between, I want the edit point to look good. I want it to be seamless. I want it to disappear. And you know that, like, sometimes you know that, like, maybe you're so good that you did, but, like, sometimes I know that that's not it, and I know that it's somewhere around there, but I don't have it yet. You know, other times I'm pretty good at it, but because I have a TV production background, a little bit, not like you, because I did it in graduate school, but then I went off to do comedy. So, but I know something, but I'm just not as practiced at all. But I have some theory, and so like sometimes I know. I need to brush up on it though. But like sometimes I know about where the edit should be and you're like, that's not invisible. That's not, and then it's like, that's it right there. But it takes me a little while to find it sometimes. And I'm probably more of but you understand that kind of perfectionism because with edits, like if a conversation is going on and you're cutting between people, sometimes it doesn't matter that much. Like you can do live editing. And when I did this old live show, I was cutting a live show. I was interviewing someone and my fingers had keyboard shortcuts. And so during the conversation, I was naturally flipping between their camera and mine. And you don't just go to them when they're talking and you're talking. It's not like that. That's not exactly what plays best. For the most part, you're showing the person talking, but not always. And it's not all, and you don't cut right between his words and mine. So the thing is, if you were editing a conversation or even some movements, like whatever, when you're editing, there are some places where you put the edit where it just disappears. Like you don't even see it. Like, it's like, oh, it's the exact right spot and it becomes seamless. And if it's off from there by a fraction of a second, it calls attention to itself. It's kind of interesting. It's an art and a science. I can still see the glow of the new black lights. You know, there is one thing. I am having trouble with this. That's the barn door of a light. I don't know if you see it, but that one bright line is a little bit of the light seeping through a barn door of a light that's right there. That because of the precise locations of my like where my panels are, that I'm having trouble getting that light out of this shot. But the camera can move a little. Anyway, some of this is really boring even to me. The new Tarantino film is on Stars and it's very good. I don't have Stars. Jazzercise with Brian. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about exercise. Because are you getting some? That's one thing that we should do. Look, you need to be healthy because a lot of people are gonna catch this virus, and the healthier you are, the better. So please be healthy and try to get some exercise because most of us have more time than we used to. And there's stuff you can do indoors, calisthenics and things. And I do a lot of push-ups, and we'll talk about that at a future date. No, Alex thought you were home and couldn't figure out how you got the tech there. Oh, really? Like he was watching somewhere else and he thought I was actually, oh, that's hilarious. Good night for real, Mark Kaplan. Perfection is the enemy of good or progress. Yeah, something like that. Sometimes it takes a little bit to find it. That's what she said, LOL. Well, look, now we're gonna wrap it up because 2 hours, 20 minutes, this is probably the longest one. It's long enough and I just wanna chill a little bit. I've been staring at screens all day, but thank you all. You guys totally rock and thanks for keeping me here and thanks for supporting me. And I'm just gonna try to be more entertaining and bring more videos and be more entertaining because you deserve it. So good night, everybody. Remove the glass in front of the hall pass. Well, that is a solution, but that is a solution, Reamer. Let me think about that. Huh, maybe. Yeah, we can't see the glass at all in Frankie over here. I might have to do that. I mean, but I don't want to. I want to work around. I want to get the light and camera in an angle where the reflection isn't there. Oh, another solution is I'm trying to change all this. What if I could just change the tilt of the picture on the wall? If I could adjust the angle that it's hanging at, that could be a solution as well. Like if it was tilted down more, it might not be obvious. But I might have to rehang it to do it, but that's another solution. So thank you for yours, and that's 2 solutions. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thanks, Denise. Jennifer, hey, thanks so much, and say hey to John, and I really appreciate it. Why not block the sliver? I mean, I can't, I'm blocking it as well. Well, it's not just the sliver, it depends. It's only a sliver because I happen to put the barn doors where they are. Earlier, where I really wanted to hang the new colored light was dead in the middle of, damn it. It was right in here, like a total bright rectangle. The whole light was showing. And so I had to move it from where I ideally wanted it. So it's not just like right now, it's just that little sliver, but sometimes it's more than that. Like, I really shouldn't have that shut down. I took a lot of light off of me. Wow, that backlight is bright, huh? Yeah, that backlight coming on me, yeah. All right, so you guys use some black tin foil on the barn door on the light reflection. Yeah, I could probably remember but the thing is, that light isn't even properly pointed at me right now. In an attempt to make this first attempt to use this red background, this light is actually focused. It's kind of pointing down here. So that light's pointing down here and that light's pointing down here. They should be pointing at my face. And in that case, it's not just a little sliver that's not showing. But I can work on that. That is a possibility. So 3 solutions. Pull the nail out farther. Use black tinfoil on the barn door, on the barn door, on the barn door, on the light reflection, on the barn door. I think Albert called it about 53 minutes ago. A shim. Oh, you're using your jargon again. A shim on top, back of the hall pass. We'll do it. Yeah. I have to check and see. I think I hung those real quickly, and I think there's a very small nail in there, and I should replace it with a longer one. But yeah, maybe a little shim, tilt it down a little, and then I can do whatever I want with the lights. Glory be. Oh, well, one of the other things is I've adjusted the height of the camera, and actually right now I'm looking down at the camera. So if the camera's up and a little higher and then tilted down, it could also be less of a problem. So there's multiple things here, but because I move the camera and shoot here and then I shoot here, sometimes that gets by me, like the reflection in the glass snuck by me. So anyway, let me help you troubleshoot during the day before the show. Maybe a photo of the bookcase wall. A photo of the bookcase wall on the green screen could have no reflections. Right. So that's, maybe eventually I'll always be on the green screen and sometimes this will be the background. But you know, the green screen, it's like, you know, it's hard to light and key it out perfectly. And that takes some serious experimentation that's hard to do with one person. It's, unless you do it in post-production. Like, but if I did for this live thing, I have to set it. It's very hard to do. I have to record a video clip and play it back and try to set it based on that. You know what I mean? Because, or I try to do it while I'm up. It's just like, must discuss another, so many variables. I'm going, I'm picking up, this is like the for dynamite, the plunger. We've done, you're all complicit, not implicit, you're complicit. We're 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 16 seconds. That is enough. I think that's our current record. It's cool to see you go to the bookcase and show us an item. Yeah, I mean, I like that too. I think I had to stand up to do it. It's a little far, like, you know, I want that separation so I can potentially blur that out a little, but I have gotten up and pulled a book off the shelf. And there's some missing. Are they showing? Can you see? Oh no, they're down there. Yeah, they are. I gave a couple Richard Brodigan books to my neighbor. Elizabeth Erickson, hi everybody. Elizabeth. Albert. Elizabeth, I've been on for 2 hours and 27 minutes, and it's too much. It's too much. Where have you been for 2.5 hours? And you're on Facebook. You gotta come over to YouTube. But I have to stop. I've been trying to stop for an hour, and these people won't let me. They keep pulling me in. I keep trying to leave, and they pull me in. I'm not really wanting you to green screen always. I'm messing with you. Yeah, I know that, David. I guess I know that. Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Elizabeth, but it's so late. What are you doing up so late? Why are you even here? Is there anyone over there? On Facebook? Thank you. You just woke up? Oh, where are you? Kishore. Are you really watching right now, Kishore? I just flipped over to see Facebook, and am I getting a notification from like an hour ago, or are you actually watching right now? Oh, that's probably old. You probably tuned in and saw me doing some bullshit. It's 10:17. No, it's 12:17 a.m. Oh, hey, Kishore. I'm totally wrapping up. I've been streaming for 2 hours and 28 minutes, It's been fun. I implore you, if you ever see me, if you ever choose to make this mistake again and watch one of these, would you watch over on my YouTube channel? My YouTube channel, of course, is youtube.com/science comedian. I'm trying to build up. I can no longer do personal appearances. The days when humans used to gather in groups and people would speak to them from atop a stage or something, that was then, this is now. There's no more of that. So I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel for possible future monetization. But you need a certain number of watched hours. My watched hours are climbing. But if you watch any of my videos on YouTube, like any of my videos, subscribe to my channel, which is youtube.com/science comedian. It's a kind of Tourette's. It's a queen variety of Tourette's. That's all that was. And Elizabeth's in New York. You just woke up because it is like 9, 10, 11, 12. No, oh, you're in New York. It's midnight. What are you at in hours now? I'm at about 13 or 1400. More than 1300. 1,300, but I need 4,000 over this past year. But the rate I'm picking up, so the thing is, it was only 800 and something a few weeks ago. If I keep cranking out as much video, and if some of my short videos, like one of those videos, I don't know if you heard me say this before, that video the other day got 5,000 views in 24 hours. That was over 200 watched hours, YouTube tells me. So right there, that's 1/5 of a thousand. So I just need a few more videos like that to get a lot of views, or a long video like this that has a few viewers that hang in there for a whole hour or something. It's crazy. So you guys really are helping me build up watched hours. Some of you have watched more than an hour. So it's climbing. My trends are all great because I never, the traction, I don't get great traction on any social media, YouTube or any social media, but I've never used them well. I've never posted consistently. And that's the key thing that you have to do. So right now, I'm posting way more often than ever. I would like to try to do these every night, but some nights after I've been working on the computer all day and doing editing, sometimes I don't have it in me to do this every night. But I'd like to do these really regularly and put out edited stuff very regularly. And, but it looks like if I get lucky and a few more videos do well, and if one video, okay, so like those 5,000, if that was 50,000 views, and it also depends how long they watch the video, because they don't always watch the whole thing, and that information I have available too. But that 5,000 views was also about 200 watched hours. So if it was 50,000 views, that could have been 2,000 watched hours for one 5-minute video. So really, and then if you double that, if I could just get one 5-minute video to get 100,000 views, that happens to people. It hasn't happened to me. I mean, I do have a couple videos that have more views than that, but some of them aren't uploaded to my channel, but they're me performing. So yeah, if I got a couple videos that got 50 or 100,000 views, boom, I'd be up there really quick. So I need to make some sticky videos. And then if I could build this up a little, it would help too. And it's fun. Okay, I'm over here now. Thanks, Elizabeth, but I gotta go. You could watch all of this if you want, but I have to stop because I really thought this was gonna be a short one. But you guys are fantastic. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it, and I'll do my best to make it worth your while. I'll try to up my game a little bit every day. Well, a little bit every so often. Maybe not every day. Some days my game's gonna go down. I'll try to up it if I go down, I'll try to up it the next day just to stay even. And then, give me a week and I'll up it again. I'm trying. But thanks you guys rock. I'm gonna hit this button and say goodnight. And stay safe, take it seriously, hunker down. It's not a quarantine, we're just hunkering down.